We're driving a 2023 Hyundai Elantra. Coming up, we're going to reveal the mystery of what this weird little circle over here does. But first, information explosion. The Hyundai Elantra is a compact sedan that entered its 7th generation in 2021. Let's begin with interior.
There's a lot of style in here for an affordable little sedan. Like, I like the lighting treatment on the vent area. This seems weirdly futuristic, and also, if you're so super into your personal space, this interior is made for you.
Do you struggle with boundaries? Well, maybe the Hyundai Elantra is right for you. And also, if you're the partner of somebody who likes to drive maddeningly quick, this gives you a really good handhold. Some of the futurism and coolness that we're experiencing is because we're driving the fanciest limited trim. So you've got this dual screen setup that we'll dig into more later. But the fundamentals are all pretty consistent, which is that there is a lot of style for a very small package. I think one of the other things too that's elevating the vehicle we're driving is the contrasting material over here on the doors.
And the little speaker that's there, it's not metal, but it kind of has that look.
The stitching certainly elevates that. And now on the other side of the equation, if you actually touch some of this stuff, it's pretty scratchy, plasticky. There are some soft places, but there's also plenty of hard materials, which just reminds you that this is a very inexpensive vehicle at heart. Though small, I think Hyundai's done a really good job maximizing the space and making it very functional. So right here in the center, I've got a pretty deep center console area. We have cup holders here, and originally these confused you a little bit, and they confused me too. So there's a spot here in the middle that says switch, and I was like, what do you do? And I was like, I can't pull it out. I did break my right hand a couple months back, but there we go.
Not doing this.
Not doing this, although it might happen again. What I discovered is that if you do manage to get it out and you flip it around, then it becomes a taller cup holder.
Okay, we need it shorter.
Now let's put it right back, and there we are. So there's some cup holder functionality there. You've got a nice little storage bin for putting your phone up here. Door storage, I see you've got your phone sitting over there.
I really like when there's a little slot that you can put your phone in when you're not charging it, because I always forget my phone in the car, and this reminds me to bring it with me.
How do you find the seat comfort?
I find the seats very comfortable. There's enough support for when you're driving like a maniac. They're great.
Over on the driver's side, I have two-way adjustable lumbar support, and I do have a power seat over here because it's a higher trim. You don't have that power functionality. Does that displease you?
I do prefer a power seat. I do not have a power seat in the car I own.
That's true. So you prefer it, we just don't have one.
Yes.
As for space, so this is a compact sedan with my front seat positioned to my ideal driving position. There is a ton of legroom behind me. Headroom, I think, could be a little bit more generous, but my head does clear even on a poofy hair day. If there's a challenge in the back seat, it might be that middle position. If you had 5 people aboard, I think this would be pretty cozy just because of width. But overall, for the compact category, I think there's plenty of space to work with here. Move back to the cargo area, there are 14.2 cubic feet, so similarly generous. That's great for the compact category.
It almost feels like Mary Poppins' bag in there. Like, wow.
But now I have to think, like, what year did Mary Poppins come out? What are the kind of cool contemporary references we're making? But
Who
you're
cares?
right. You're right. 2 elements to consider with the cargo area, though. There are gooseneck hinges, so those do kind of intrude on the cargo space a little bit when you lower the trunk lid. And then there is a standard pass-through. However, it's only a 60-40 split on the highest limited trim, playing the odds that we might at some point need to carry our daughter home with us along with long cargo. I might be a little leery of those 2 lower trims because of that reason. Kiddo, how do you find getting in and out of this car?
It's really cool.
So because it's a car and not a higher SUV, it's easier to get in and out?
What a fun way to respond. And sweetie, do you have a similarly fun way to respond when I ask you how it is getting her booster seat installed?
Yeah! 0 issues getting the car seat installed. And I think if you had a rear-facing car seat, I think it would be similarly easy.
This is one of those vehicles where all that extra rear seat legroom really could pay off in a lot of different use cases. As for safety, this is an NHTSA 5-star overall vehicle. It is an IIHS top safety pick. And then there's a full suite of active driver assist, things like lane keeping assist, automatic emergency braking. It also includes blind spot warnings, standard, plus 6 airbags. Family, what do we think? Is the Hyundai Elantra family friendly?
Family friendly.
Yes, if you have a small family, it is friendly. Rear window test.
Almost all the way down.
Almost all the way down, boop.
Very close.
Armrest test. Okay, driving in my standard comfortable 8 and 4 position, I'm noticing that the inboard armrest is positioned a little bit lower. I love for these things to be even, and it's a little bit of a reach if I want to keep my hands firmly on the steering wheel. But I will say that that is got a good amount of squish there, and it's a little firmer on the outboard, but still pretty comfortable. I'm gonna go 75% inboard, 70% outboard. Hey! Would you like to see more videos like this where we review cars as a family plus the occasional helicopter adventure? If so, you're welcome to subscribe. Style!
There are a lot of very crisp lines in the exterior that make it almost look like paper has been folded because they are so crisp.
Oftentimes, if you see a vehicle in silhouette, it's like, I don't know, it's a car, whatever. Like, there is no mistaking the Elantra for any other vehicle.
From that big zigzag on the side to the way the front juts out, the way the rear juts out above the trunk.
It's all the same materials. It's like metal and plastic. Shape it however you want. Just because it's an inexpensive car doesn't mean it has to be boring. We like the look of the Hyundai Elantra, but what do you think? Do you like the Hyundai Elantra? If so, if no, tell us in the comment section. In motion! For my commute home while driving on the freeway, I found ride quality in the Elantra to be very comfortable. I think the cabin's pretty quiet, again, for a very inexpensive category. When I got to the mountain here and I started turning, I noticed there's like a little bit of slack in the steering wheel, but it is a fairly quick ratio, so it has a nimble quality. I wouldn't say it's sporting, but if you want a sporting Elantra, they certainly make that in the Elantra N. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of fun. What that speaks to is that the fundamental vehicle has a fun potential.
Are you experiencing that now?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna be doing our classic off-the-line accelerating, trying to get out of the way before cross traffic comes and slams into us test here. Here we go. Floored. Whee! All right. A little bit, I think, lethargic off the line, but then it got going, and now that I'm already moving at 30 miles an hour, if I floor it, it feels pretty swift. Can you recall a vehicle that also did that?
Oh gosh, I can't recall anything.
The Honda HR-V exhibited the same behavior. You know what kind of transmission it had? A continuously variable transmission. CVTs struggle off the line to get moving, but then once they're up to speed, typically they can change their ratios swiftly enough that you get prompt responses. But that off the line acceleration can sometimes be a struggle for CVTs. And that's what we have here. However, Hyundai is smart. They know that people have a negative impression of CVTs. You know what they did to get around that?
Did they go with a different technology?
No, they called it something else. It's called an intelligent variable transmission, an IVT. It's basically a CVT. But they've been very, very clever about it. Not only did they give it a different name, but they've tuned it in such a way that as you're accelerating, it imitates the revving nature of a vehicle that has a standard automatic transmission. So there's some emulation of familiar technologies. If you have the advantages of a CVT, which is a more efficient drivetrain, but you can take away some of those negatives that turn people off, then sure, go for it. I think they've done that here. Lastly, we have a couple drive modes. We've got normal mode right now. I'm going to put it in sport mode, and that doesn't heavy up the steering unnecessarily so. And maybe, oh, that was a much more aggressive reaction from the engine as I leaned into the accelerator. So yeah, this is a somewhat sportier experience. All right, before I have too much fun, let's find out what Evie thinks. Sweetie's driving. Okay, yeah, you dislike large vehicles. This is a small vehicle. Can I intuit that you like driving this?
I do like being low to the ground here.
Does it make you feel more agile and able to get around stuff?
That is exactly it.
And then start to accelerate a little bit, and let's just see if you have enough acceleration here for your sweetie tastes.
Definitely. But I don't require a lot.
When you have low standards, it's easy to be impressed. Last question, what about visibility?
The windows are a little bit narrow, and over my right shoulder, that C-pillar is rather thick. Over my left shoulder, though, I can see past the B-pillar, which is a rare bonus for me.
Yeah, and from a visibility perspective, blind spot warning comes standard. So even if there are spots where it's like, this pillar's a little bit thicker, that does give you some reassurance that the vehicle will tell you if something's where you're not necessarily seeing it. Hey, I'm getting back in the driver's seat. Overall, the Hyundai Elantra, I think, offers a well-rounded driving experience. Moving on to emotion factor. Quickly, if you've heard us talk about flying eyes sunglasses, you probably see me bend it like this, or maybe you've seen some video of me flying the helicopter. I'm not going to tell you more about it. If you are in the market for sunglasses or eyeglasses of impeccable quality, and you want to support the channel, feel free to consider flying eyes sunglasses. And if that sounds like something you're in the market for, there's a link in the description below that will tell you all about it. And to make it further enticing to you, you can save 10% if you use the promo code Micah. Now put those things on and make it look cool with the magnet and the...
So cool.
Yeah, that could be you. Flying eyes. Now this is an inexpensive car, sweetie, but do you think there's any emotion to be mined here?
So much, from the interior style to the exterior style, which is truly unique. I'm impressed with how much emotion there is from like a sensible little affordable sedan.
I think in olden times, car makers wanted you to move up to more expensive vehicles, so it's like we're gonna save the style for the people who have the money. And I like the fact that we're at a place where you can drive something that is very inexpensive and still kind of fun to look at. The other modifier I would say from an emotion factor perspective is the fact that there's a 10-year, 100,000 mile powertrain warranty plus that low acquisition cost. Both of those things make it feel like a smart purchase. And there's nothing more enhancing to your emotional state than feeling smart. I'm looking forward to trying it sometime. We think there's a potential emotion factor here, but what do you think? Are you emotionally drawn to buy a Hyundai Elantra of your very own? If so, you might need to sell your current car first. If you want to know what your current car is worth or how much you should spend on a Hyundai Elantra, click the Kelley Blue Book pricing link in the description below. Remarks! In the beginning of the video, we teased we were going to tell you what this weird circle over here on the left side of the gauge cluster does. Are you ready? Are you ready, kiddo? There's that weird yes again. The circle's function is nothing. It does nothing. It has no function whatsoever. It is a style circle.
That was my guess.
That was your guess that it does nothing?
How? You don't know how long I poked and prodded and tried things to try to make it do something so I could get B-roll of it.
Yeah, well, that was a fool's errand because it does nothing. I would have thought maybe they would have added like a special screen or something there in the Elantra N.
Or a magnet.
A magnet, put a phone there or something, I don't know. It serves literally no purpose. It's just a very stylish circle.
Cool.
Remark number 2, infotainment. The standard infotainment screen is an 8-inch unit with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as wireless, and then in the limited trim that we have, it moves up to a 10.25-inch screen with embedded navigation. And what's crazy about Hyundais is that when you move up to a larger screen, you lose the wireless CarPlay and Android Auto functionality. And I have no idea why that is, and I've gotten conflicting reports. It doesn't matter. It's bizarre. Wireless madness aside, how do you find the interface?
So I find the menus really logically laid out, easy to navigate around. What is challenging for me and my bad eyes is how small the icons are and the fact that they're all the same color. But luckily there's also a series of buttons around here with shortcuts that helps me navigate when I'm not looking at the system. I like that there's a actual volume knob included because that's one of my favorite things.
This is what middle-aged looks like. Yeah, you used to be excited about going to like Cabo or partying, but now you're like...
I have never been that person. I've never even been to Cabo.
Yes, she has always loved volume knobs.
When you drive a vehicle with somebody who likes listening to music very loud, and then you get in with somebody who likes listening to music very quietly, that a knob is a helpful and speedy way to bridge that gap.
One other element that I think really elevates the Elantra, at least the one we're driving, is the single pane of glass with the screen over here and then the digital gauge cluster over here. Not that long ago, you'd have to buy a Mercedes to have this kind of presentation. Though even Mercedes doesn't have a completely non-functional circle. Regarding the digital gauge cluster, I do like that it changes its visual style depending on what drive mode you're in. I'm in smart mode now. Oh yeah, no, that does feel good, yeah. And now it is time for the Muzio family smell test. Our daughter does not like new car smell, and we know some other people might feel the same. Child, can you tell me about the smell of the Hyundai Elantra? Is it good, bad, or just okay?
Just okay, because it smells more like chips than new cars.
How did it smell before you ate a bag of chips?
Not so good.
Pro tip, bring your own chips. And that was the Muzio family smell test. Sweetie,
Yes.
can I give you a trim recommendation?
Sure.
Our trim recommendation is which trim will give you the essential features you would regret not getting, but at the lowest possible price. We're going to recommend the $21,900 SEL trim. The base SE has most of the essentials, but that SLE adds XM satellite radio, 2 more speakers for a total of 6, dual zone automatic climate control, a hands-free smart trunk, and smart key access, and it's only $1,250 more than the base SE. If you're feeling fancy, the limited trim adds nice stuff like heated leather trimmed front seats, a wireless charging pad, full speed adaptive cruise control, cyclist and junction turning detection for the collision assist system, plus these big screens. Oh, and that 60/40 split rear seat, but it is $4,600 pricier than the SEL. All right, let's talk about engine choices. The base engine is a naturally aspirated 2-liter that only comes with a continuously variable transmission. Then there's a 1.6-liter hybrid that comes with a 6-speed dual clutch transmission. And boy, is that thing efficient. There's also a 1.6-liter N-line rendition of the Elantra with a 7-speed dual clutch transmission and 201 horsepower. Then at the top of the heap, the 2-liter Elantra N. It either comes with a manual transmission or a 6-speed dual clutch. As for the competitive set, there are quite a few small cars that compete. Honda Civic is a logical one, Toyota Corolla, and the Mazda 3. And if you're curious what we thought about the Mazda 3, click up here. I should also mention that Hyundai recently revealed the 2024 Elantra, which features a refreshed exterior, specifically that front end. I think it looks a lot better. You might agree or disagree. Either way, tell us in the comments. Did we miss any remarks? If so, tell us in the comment section. Synopsis! In thinking about the essence of the Hyundai Elantra, it is cheap, but it makes a big impression. To me, it is the Bob Ross grilled cheesemaker of compact sedans.
Yes, that's an actual thing.
What do you get the man who has everything for his birthday? There's your answer. Family, I think we've done a good job reviewing the Hyundai Elantra. May I have a 5 and a 5? And you! Come get your high five. Bam!